Cats the musical. Whether you love it or hate it, it's been here for a while. Cats debuted on the West End in 1981, and while it was predicted to be a huge flop, it ended up becoming a huge success. Which is kind of hilarious because if you talk to any random person on the street, almost everybody knows what you're talking about, and most people think that it's ridiculous and hate it. Most people I talk to just don't get the show, to which I usually respond, there's not much to get. Some people you talk to say that it's a satire. Honestly, I'm not sure. I can't read that much into it. To me, it's just cats having a celebration. And that might be kind of goofy. It might seem a little bit too simple because there really isn't a plot. You're watching an event, not a story. Cats was so successful that it's been on Broadway for numerous years. It was the longest running show on Broadway for a time, although not anymore, obviously. And it's been on tour all over the world. It's in high schools all the time. So of course it comes to no surprise that they wanted to produce a video for it. Video came out sometime in the 90s. I really want to say around 98, although I could be mistaken. And it has somewhat of an odd approach to it in a few places. Most film versions of shows, of musicals that I've seen, generally they record them on stage. My favorite ones are the ones where they set up a bunch of cameras so they could get different angles, and they recorded the show as it was going with a live audience, and you get the screw-ups, you get the audience reactions, and it's just wonderful because you get a little bit more of a real theater experience. And the reason why these videos are produced is not only to get the musical out there where the general public are going to see it, but it's also for people who may not be able to afford to go to live theater, so they can still enjoy the experience for a much lower price. So why was the Cats video done the way that it was? This video was done on a set. It wasn't staged and modified like a film adaptation. It wasn't a film adaptation at all. There were talks of doing film adaptations of Cats, and that might sound a little scary when you think about it, but there's been a couple of different times where it's been proposed to turn into a cartoon movie for children, but nothing's ever gotten finished. This particular one is a little bit odd, and my theory on why the Really Useful group decided to film it the way that they did is because the Cats show is kind of an immersion experience. When you're at the show, there's cats crawling around in the audience and interacting with audience members. They use the audience as part of the stage. It's just it's very much involved. Whenever you go to that show, as long as you are close enough to the stage, you can expect to be involved in the show in some way. So that's part of why I think they filmed it the way that they did, so they could get the reactions of the cats up to the camera and these shots that are like right in the action. But it ends up creating some oddly choppy parts. Certain scenes don't line up correctly, and there were a lot of things they had to cut for time, which created a few really awkward areas if you actually know what they're supposed to be like. Never mind the issues of this person was on the left side of the stage a minute ago, now they're on the right, now they're on the left again, because they cut two different scenes, spliced them together, and did whatever with them. We're talking about having to cut things for time. One thing makes a little more sense than the other. For instance, the movie version of the show includes the song The Peaks and the Pollicles, which is about the battle between two different dog sects, and it's really cute and amusing, but they chose that over Growl Tiger's Last Stand and the aria. Personally, I would have preferred Growl Tiger's Last Stand and the aria. Growl Tiger's Last Stand can be comedic and the aria is beautiful, but it was. I cannot tell you exactly why they made that decision. I can say that even on most touring productions, they usually pick a song instead of using both. I don't think they've used both in quite a long time. It's a super fun show, and the DVD isn't awful. Although almost anybody who has watched the show live definitely has their complaints. I can say it's a pretty good introduction to a show you might not see otherwise. It definitely was the first time I ever saw it, was on DVD, or, well, VHS tape. And I can't say anything too bad about it. There's some fond memories involved, and I can still enjoy listening to it or watching it every so often. Overall, Cats has a very unique sort of feel to its film version. It's not quite the same as, say, if you watch the film version of Sweeney Todd, and I don't mean the Tim Burton one. I mean the one with George Hearn and Angela Lansbury that was recorded from a stage the way it should be. It definitely doesn't have the same feel as, say, Shrek the Musical DVD. But it's not quite on par with Sweeney Todd and other musicals that we've changed into films for better or worse. So Cats is kind of in a little bit of its own awkward category. The only thing it brings me to wonder is what would it have looked like if they had decided to make a Starlight Express DVD? Next week we're going to talk about a few of the other musicals that have been adapted into films and kind of take a look and see and compare the different things that have been done, including, like I said, the horrific Sweeney Todd comparison. So, we'll see you guys next week here at the Culture Cache. Bye.